Right, fuck it, whatever. Alright, anyway, guys and girls, welcome back to another Eastenders episode. We're going to do like sort of the rise and fall of Max Brennan. What a heck of a year it's been for him, and what a really bad year it's been for him. It's like been ups and some downs and stuff, turns around some corners, lefts, rights, turns, and my god, it's like a full-on roller coaster for Max Brennan this year. So, yeah, the 25th of December, yesterday's episode, which would have been December the 25th, which would have been Christmas Day special with Eastenders, was, to be honest, I would say probably the best Christmas episode. There's been some sort of like really bad drama episode in it, which some sad scenes, but some emotional like roller coaster rides in that. Some shockers as well. I would say a few shockers, but I think we knew that a couple of the two were going to die in a way together. But I'll tell you that at the end. So, at the start of the episode, we had like Max and Stacey from the other day's episode. I think it was like Friday's episode, where there was some sort of sexual tension between them two. And basically, when they were, when Stacey was at the nativity place, she got a phone call off Max Brennan stating that he'd left something at the house. He's been staying with Stacey, and he's been staying with Martin for the last few days because no one's really cared about him. He's had a lot of problems with the whole street because he's been pissing the people off. And basically, it's been a whole sort of revenge thing. He's been trying to get back on the street for leaving him in prison for the whole year. Basically, last year he was in prison for the entire whole year. And it was basically him not actually getting what he deserved. He didn't deserve it because he didn't do the killings. He didn't kill Lucy Beale, which is actually Ian Beale's daughter. And basically, Lucy is actually the sister to Stephen. Now, Stephen is basically been lying to Jane and Ian, stating that basically he had a brain tumour, and he was telling Lauren about it. This was quite a few episodes back. It was like mid-season of 2017, going around about the start of 26, well, near the end of 2016. And it was an interesting episode up to this point now. Now, the tension between Stacey, they had a sort of affair back in the past and stuff, past episodes. And she used to be married, I think, to Bradley. Now, Bradley found out about their affair. And then also Max was actually having an affair behind his wife's back, Tanya. She found that she tried to bury him alive and stuff like this is going back many years, going back into the series. And yeah, she thought she'd get revenge by burying him alive because she found out his weakness, his sort of like downfall. Because I think his dad used to bury him or put him in a cupboard or some shit when he was little. To try and put the shits at him and all that, tried to terrify him, and it didn't go too well. So she found that his sort of like weak spot on there. Anyway, so basically in that episode tonight, there was some more sexual tension between each other. Anyway, the reason they got caught the first time round was there was a tape, a wedding tape. I think it was basically it was Tanya and it was Max. They were getting married, I believe, at the time, or Stacey was getting married to Bradley at the time. And then they found it on the tape. It was one of the two, actually. And they found out the tape, which had the wedding on it, actually had them having it off and stuff with each other. Stacey and his father, Bradley's father, were actually sleeping together and stuff, and there was a lot of sexual tension. Now, old surfaces resurfaced again, the old bones and stuff, the bones from the graveyard started digging up and the old past and all that. And then they started having this sort of talk. Stacey and Max were having a discussion about the old times and saying that he's never actually felt that they've never lost this fire between each other, that they've always loved each other. He's always loved her, that she's the only person he's ever wanted, he's ever loved. And oh, it was just fantastic how they worked it out this slowly. And then she said she felt the same and all that. And then basically there was a phone, a mobile phone that came through the post, which had been missing. It was Stacey's phone. And Jane, who had literally left for a while, Max actually, I believe he tried to terrify her. He told her to leave the square. If she didn't, that Ian would get killed or something. Just like Stephen, who was supposed to be, I think, her stepson, which is Ian's stepson, because I think it's Simon Wick. I think he's supposed to be Simon Wicks's son or something. Now, Simon Wicks used to be there. I think, I'm not too sure. I think is that Pat Butcher's son, I believe, Simon Wicks is. So it's many years gone back. I mean, EastEnders been on since 1985, so it's hard to keep up with the episodes. But I think Simon Wicks, and then you got David Wicks, which is, I think it was their brothers or something. But David and Simon, I think they used to be Pat's, like, kids. I think Pat Butcher, she died. I think she died of cancer in one of the episodes and all that. There's been a lot of drama in the past years to do with these episodes. And tonight was literally one of the best, I would say best of 2017 for going out on a high. They literally went out on a high. There was two main characters literally got killed off. And I'll be getting to that point in a minute. So Stacey finds the mobile phone. Now Jane literally left a message. Before she left a message to say that Max had literally killed Stephen, and literally killed him and all that, and done a lot of terrifying Ian and stuff, or was going to threaten Ian and threaten everybody else around him, and that he wanted to come for revenge and all this kind of malarkey stuff. Now, the reason he wanted this revenge in the first place is he was sent to prison for Lucy's murder. Now, he didn't commit that murder in the first place. He didn't kill Lucy. He was set it up by Phil. Now, Phil Mitchell, who's one of the Mitchell brothers, is brother of Grant. And then you got Peggy Mitchell. She actually got killed off in one of the episodes. I think she just... But they didn't show her death. They had it where I think Peg and... Actually, Pat Butcher turned up in one of the scenes, and then she just literally was lying flat out on the bed. So obviously she was dead, unless they end up bringing her back, maybe as a sort of a ghost at some point. But that could be an idea and stuff. But yeah, it should be awesome actually. They've actually got some storylines. Says here tragic deaths. Special, because this EastEnders episode was absolutely special. There was a good flipping showdown. We've got Aiden as well, basically sending the police to the place, to the Queen Victoria, and it was due to the fact he wants Mick to do his dirty work for him. He wants him to come into this sort of heist. There's going to be a heist coming towards the end of the end of this year, going into the new year, into 2018. And I think there's going to be a big job in EastEnders. So they're going to probably... And apparently someone's going to get shot in this heist. So whoever's on the list, maybe it's going to be... I don't know, maybe Max is going to be in it as well. Actually, that'd be good, actually, because at the moment, Max is still alive, guys and girls. Just to let you know, Max is still alive, and he's downfall at the moment. He's on the downfall. This is the rise and fall of Max. And even though he's had his ups and downs, I think, to be honest, this pain of his is literally got worse tonight in tonight's episode. But for Lauren and Abby, there was an actual tragic death for both of them, and I'll get to that point in a minute for the episode. But Aiden and Mick are having a confrontation, and he's basically sent Mick a parcel through. Now Mick owns the Queen Victoria, and he's down on his luck for a few months now. He's basically teamed up with, well, not Wilmot Brown. Wilmot Brown's actually the one who raped Kathy Beale around about the 1980s in one of the episodes, and Dirty Den found out about it, and he literally was going to beat the hell out of him and stuff. Let's just put it that way. And he dragged him in down to a lane and all that kind of stuff. But I think he ended up going to prison, and then eventually Wilmot Brown got out, and he's got a son. He's got Josh. He's got Luke, who actually started abusing Ben, who's Ben Mitchell, Phil's son. And Phil's son went out with Luke, and I think at some point they're going to find out that maybe Luke and Ben are like brothers or something, so there could be something in between the episode. I would like to see that they end up, because they've been having like sex with each other, and I think at some point they're going to find out in that episode, maybe in one of the episodes into the new year, they could be like family members or something, maybe they're brothers or cousins or something. There's going to be some tension, but maybe it's a bit of a strange episode for the last couple of weeks, because there's been talks where Fee, who's actually Wilmot Brown's daughter, she keeps on about her mum all the time and saying what did he do to her mother and stuff, because Wilmot Brown used to go to these other women as well and used to get other women pregnant and give them kids. But it used to do it for the sexual pleasure of it, and used to just get them, like, I don't know, used to do like a lot of abusing the women and stuff, and used the power that he had to influence, because he was like a mafia boss. He's more like a mobster. But what he's doing, he's trying to buy out the entire square. Now, he's trying to get the Queen Victoria, and he's done a little dodgy thing where he made them sign a contract. He made Mick Carter sign a contract, so he signs the business over to him, and his family, the Carter family, have about to the end of this year into the new year 2018 to leave the place and get a new place, like a new pub or something. So they're going to move out, and they're going to be kicked out of their homes for the new year. So obviously they're trying to bring something in to do with homeless people, so they're going to be homeless technically. So I think in the way the BBC are trying to go where they're showing you that people are homeless on the street, which I find you do get a lot of people at the moment. A lot of people around Christmas time are homeless on the street, so obviously they're bringing these sort of episodes in to show you what happens about people who are actually homeless, and that they're not fake. Not everyone's faking it, that people do literally get kicked out of their homes for different situations. But yeah, getting to Max's thing and why these are all connected. Now, Max used to team up. He used to be like the left-hand man, right-hand man, or whatever you want to call him, the henchman to Wilmot Brown. He done what Wilmot Brown told him to. And he actually got basically him to keep Lauren's mouth shut, his own daughter. So basically he told Max to tell his daughter to keep her mouth shut, otherwise he would kill her or do something to shut her up. And then Max didn't want anything to do with that going on. He didn't want his daughters getting brought into this and getting killed or anything bad happen to them. Anyway, so tonight's episode was more about the fall of Max Brennan himself. Literally in like cryo status tonight. Literally, he's fallen to bits tonight. Literally fallen. It's like I've never seen him hit his lowest point up to this point now, and he's more depressed. He's got more anxiety now because he's just found out because he's lost everything. So what do you call a man or a person who's lost everything? He's got nothing to lose now. So I think at this point, but there was a showdown. Actually, how it started is Tanya came back tonight, and she basically confronted Lacey, or what am I saying, Lacey? Well, her name's Lacey Turner, is her real actress, the real actress. But Stacey, she plays as Stacey. Tonight, Stacey was confronted by Tanya, and she was saying that basically Max bumped off and killed Stephen Beale, and he did it to try and get him out the way, and then he tried to get Stephen to bump Jane off, and basically is at that point Jane was told Tanya all about it, and she was going to tell Stacey about it in the first place, but there was a sort of a snag. Max literally deleted the phone, and now there was a phone that went disappearing. The new kids had just moved in, this new family, the Taylors. One of the kids, I don't know if they're supposed to be disabled or not, because they look disabled or look like they got learning difficulties or something. The two of the main characters in it, they actually stole a phone in the episode, and they've been holding it for months. And on that information, on the phone itself, it had Jane on it, warning Stacey. Now, they stole Stacey's phone, which had vital information on there, saying that Max is a murderer, that he killed, he killed Stephen Beale, which is Ian Beale's son, but technically not his son, because it's actually, I think he was, I think Simon Wicks is the dad of him, and then he took him over, or they seem to be family members at least anyway. It's all like in there. But yeah, he finds out about it, and he gets confronted by Stacey, because him and Stacey were together. They were kissing, hugging each other in the kitchen, and they gets caught by Tanya. Now Tanya's like, oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe you're still literally with him. And then she goes, oh my God, you're literally sleeping together. And then they're like trying to deny it and all of that, saying, oh, you're absurd, or you're like, there's something wrong with you and all that, we're not sleeping together and all that. And he goes, come on, tell him I'm not sleeping with you and all that. And they look quite close together, because basically the mistake they both made, right? Now, Tanya used to be married to Max Brennan, until he actually got caught actually having an affair with Stacey. So it seems to be that triangle shit going on again. And now it seems he's been having an affair behind his wife, ex-wife again. And this time she's caught him in the act. And also she's gone and told Stacey about it, about him killing off Stephen Beale. And now basically Stacey confronted Max and said, did you really kill him? Did you really kill him? And all that. And she said, I want the truth and all that. And it's to that point now, she said, oh, you can't believe him. And he goes, oh, I didn't kill him and stuff. She's lying. She's trying to start trouble and all this kind of stuff. And it gets to this point where he's trying to deny everything. He's trying to say it's all lies, that she's been trying to get rid of him, that he's been in love. He's in love with Stacey, and she can't get over the fact that he still loves Stacey. And the reason he got rid of Tanya in the first place is because he's never liked her, and he's loved Stacey all these years and stuff. I think they had an affair back in 2007. It might be actually around about that time. I haven't seen that episode for a while. I'm going to have to do some more backstories on those and put them into chronological order. But I will update my channel as I go along, as I go into the new year, because the New Year's is going to be absolutely astonishing. Hopefully the end of this year's episode of EastEnders is as good, hopefully, not if better, when it comes to the New Year's episodes. So hopefully in the new year, when it starts the 1st of January, or whenever they put EastEnders on at that time, hopefully we find out about it. But anyway, how it got to, they found out that he actually killed Stephen. Now, Ian finds out. I think Kathy actually starts hearing him having a row in the street, and he goes up to his kids. They walk out on him, and basically she's only come back, actually, Tanya's only come back to take her kids, Lauren and Abby, back home with her to where she lives, because she wants to keep her kids away from Max, and she just wants her to literally like stay away from him because he's a murderer and all of that, and they don't want anything to do with him. And then Abby was saying to her dad, "Oh, is that true? You killed him and stuff." And she was shocked as well. She got to the point that, and everyone just abandoned him. And also Martin Fowler, who's going out with Stacey, he looked disgusted with Stacey. So I don't know if he actually heard beyond the door, because he was standing beyond the door, and as the kitchen door opened, he was there. And I think it was Abby as well was there, his daughter. I think she's his youngest daughter, and then you got Lauren, I think is his older daughter. I'm not too sure which one was older at the two, but he's got other kids as well, with different women and all that. He gets around a lot, he does. But this is the rise and fall. Now, the rise was he came back into power, joined up with this sort of mafia boss and all that, Wilmot Brown, and the family, because Wilmot Brown and his family all were in together into this big, massive business. Now, Josh actually owned his own department he was working with his dad. He didn't like his dad. He really hates his dad's guts and all that, and really hates him. And he literally grabbed his dad up against the wall and threatened him. He said, I'm going to quit the job, because he don't like working for his dad. And his dad don't like Lauren, who's working with him. And he's been having it off with Lauren, Josh, at the time. He's been having it, and he's in love with Lauren at the same time, Max's daughter. Now, Max really hates the entire Wilmot family. So I don't know whether something's going to come out of it for next year, the storylines, but it's going to be some good shit coming out of it. Maybe, and there's been talks as well, Kathy wants revenge from her rapist, Wilmot Brown, who raped her in the first place. So they reckon Kathy's going to get revenge by killing Wilmot Brown. Now, there's a little twist in that as well. What happens if they change the storyline? He actually does her in, because she actually faked her death so many years due to, I think it was a car crash. And then Kathy Beale only came back, I think last year, year before, something like that. Actually, I think it was for the 30th anniversary of Eastenders, for 30 years. They did a special episode, and then she came back into, I believe it was that episode when Lucy got killed off. And then his mum turned up. And she's also Ben's mum as well. And Ben and Ian are both brothers. And Ian is Phil's son. Or technically his half. I would say his half son, because I don't think it's his full son. But Ben is Phil's biological son. But then I think it's going to be a bit of a twist. I think we're going to find out that Wilmot Brown, is the father to Ben, so there might be a little bit of a twist, because when he raped her around about the same time, probably around about 30 odd years or something at the time, maybe she got pregnant. She didn't tell Phil that he wasn't actually the father. Maybe there's going to be some like sort of twist in that. They always do like a little twist on it. And I've been having a discussion with my mum about it. Maybe he raped her at that time, Wilmot Brown, raped Kathy Beale, and she fell pregnant around about the same time as Phil went out with her at the time. And maybe it was where that twist comes into it, where we find, to be honest, she was with Pete Beale at the time, so I don't think Phil was around. I'm not too sure if Phil was around at that time, because when Kathy got raped, I think it was like 1985, 1986, 1987, Pete Bill was with her. And Pete is actually Phil's dad, I believe. No, not Phil's dad. Ian, his dad is Pete Bill. So Pete Bill is the father to Ian. Yeah, so then Kathy went out with Phil, so it became his stepdad and stuff. So yeah, there we go, his stepdad. So then Ben came along. I'm not too sure when he came along, if it was 20, 30 years, probably 30 odd years going back, because I think he's around about my age or something. It's 29, 30, 31. So give or take. So if around about that time, maybe Wilmot Brown done something and she fell pregnant at that very point around about 30 odd years, maybe Wilmot Brown is the dad. Anyway, getting to the point of Max Brennan in tonight's episode. Now, when they all disbanded from him, they all left him, they all started getting into the car and all that. And he literally got to a depressive state. He's lost it now. He's on the tithering end. He's about to blow his head gasket off. Literally his head gasket in tonight's episode. And to be honest, who could blame him? He thought he was going to get the revenge he deserved, the sweet revenge, and it's all blown up in his face entirely. And to be honest, it's his own fault that he's done it, because he's been pushing his family aside and his family away and his friends away, and he's been screwing over the people that actually was dear close to him. But it goes to the point now, he's got nothing to lose now. So is there going to be more revenge coming for him? Or is this basically it now for him? Is he giving up on his bad boy days for the next? Hopefully. There's been some pictures that it was this EastEnders tragic deaths. Abby and Lauren for Christmas special are both dead. Lauren and Abby dead in a dramatic Christmas cliffhanger. So it's a cliffhanger. So whether it is or isn't, because they plummeted to their death and all you saw was them on the floor. Now, I was watching an episode of Emmerdale tonight, not Emmerdale, Coronation Street, and they had a sort of a thing where Billy literally fell off down a cliff and wasn't pushed down by old Peter Barlow in Coronation Street, but they had a Christmas special earlier as well. And he fell down the cliff, Billy, because basically he's just been found out that he was the cause for killing Peter Barlow's twin sister. Yeah. So, and now he wanted revenge. Peter Barlow's on revenge now, and tied him up, took him to a cliff, and said he was going to drop him off the cliff and was going to take off the handbrake and throw him down there. But then he drove forward and then took him out of the car and cut the ropes, and he said he can make his own way back, and then threw the actual thing down. And then just wanted to frighten him because he's a priest, this bloke as well. Not Peter Barlow, but the bloke he was going to throw over the cliff. Billy. And Billy. And so you would think a person of the cloth wouldn't do shit like that in the first place. So it's more like... but then again, I suppose it was a bit different. I suppose this was before he became a priest, because he was hanging around with some bloke. It caused an accident, and then Peter Barlow's twin sister ended up dead during the accident. So obviously it was an accident, but what was the cause of the problem? Was there drinking involved and it caused the accident, or was there more to it? So hopefully there's going to be on that. But in EastEnders episode, basically had nothing to lose now that Max Brennan is literally on the tethering end. He walks off, all his family walks away, they all goes off. Ian comes out of his house. He's just found out that Stephen was killed by Max Brennan. He ends up having a scuffle with fucking Max Brennan outside, and he punches Max, and then they have a fight. and then he throws Max throws him over, and then gets off and all that, and they're standing up. They don't actually fully hurt each other. He goes back in the house. Kathy's all like upset. Everyone's upset with him. They tells him to bugger off technically and all that. And then it was like he literally lost it to the point. Now I don't know who it was. They I think it was his daughter. She said, "Oh, I wish it was you now that died that day, rather than Bradley, who jumped off the building." That was his own daughter who said that to him. His own daughter said to him, like, "I wish it was you who literally jumped off that building or fell off the roof and stuff during the time when he was out having an affair behind his son's back with his wife and all that." So he got so depressed, he went to the top of the building of the Queen Victoria, is it, man? Yeah, it was the Queen Victoria. He ended up going to the top of it, and then he was just about to throw himself off. He was about to do the whole world a favour, but just before he got there, Phil Mitchell had a showdown with him and literally pointed a gun at him, said he was going to kill him and stuff, and he said, "You're going to stay right there," and all this kind of stuff and this malarkey. And then he said, "Oh, you may get Ian, you may punch him on the floor easy and stuff." But I tell you what, he goes, "I'm not easy," and then he punches him on the floor and knocks him out on the floor. Phil's getting more of like a bastard now. He's getting back to his old ways, and that's what we want. We want to see that vicious side of Phil Mitchell back. We don't. We like the one where he turns to the bottle from time to time, and then has liver problems and all of that, and then liver cirrhosis, and has to have a liver transplant, and he's on the verge of death, and then he makes a comeback. That is where we want him. And now we got to this point now, they had a bit of a showdown, and then he had the gun, he had Max on the floor, and he was just about to shoot him. They had a bit of a scuffle first of all before he went on the floor. The gun fired off, it hit one of the fence gates and stuff, and the bullet just literally hit the fence. One bullet, that was all. Then he was just about to shoot Max, and then Max gets him, grabs the gun, not grabs it off him, but grabs it to his chest like he wants to die, because he's so depressed now. He's up to this point where he just wants to die. He wants to have it done. He wants to have it completely. He wants to die because he's had enough. He's lost everything. So he grabs over Phil, grabs his hand. He says, "Go on, do it, kill me," and all that. Something like out of like an Arnold film and all that. And then Phil just pushed him to the ground, punched him on the floor, and said no. He said. And then it started pissing down with rain, and then literally just that's it for that scene. Then he ends up going on the top, and then him and his daughters have a showdown where they're trying to talk him down from jumping off the building and from doing the suicide to try and kill himself. And then